Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1250A, and today's date is April 9th, 2017, and the title of the episode is, The IMF is Ready to Eliminate Cash. Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. Later today, I'm going to be uploading an interview with James Wesley Rawls, and this was supposed to be released on Tuesday, but I think I need to release this a little bit earlier because we talked about all the different scenarios of being prepared and what could happen. And I'm talking about power grid, war, I'm talking about economic collapse and the differences on what could happen. So I thought this was a time where this needs to be out there and people should be listening and people understanding what could happen. So later today, look for it. It should be around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm still editing it, so I will put it up there. People who are on the X22 Report email alert system, you'll get the email. If you're a subscriber to YouTube, you should get the email, but if not, just keep checking the channel and you'll see the video up around that time. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, we're starting to see evidence that this economy, well, it's starting to implode on itself. And we talked about H.H. Gregg and other stores and how they were going bankrupt and how stores are going to be closing. Well, H.H. Gregg right now, they're going to be closing all stores nationwide. And we're going to see a lot more of these retailers completely break down and completely go out of business. It's going to be like Circuit City, like Crazy Eddie, if those out there remember that business. It was an electronics store. There were many other stores that were out there that completely do not exist today. And what we're seeing now is the corporate media is trying to make sense of this. They're trying to figure out how can we spin this in a way where it doesn't sound that bad, but it's still getting bad right now. And we already see that Amazon is continually out there saying they're going to be adding 30,000 or 50,000 jobs, but these are part-time jobs. And what's very interesting is the corporate media is out there, and they're explaining away the part-time jobs, they're explaining away the full-time jobs, and they come to a point where they need to explain what is happening here. So they start off with, Amazon's creating incredible number of jobs, 30,000 jobs, but they're part-time. And then they fill it in where around 5.6 million Americans, well, they're in part-time work and they're desperate to find full-time work. Now, this number is quite low. They're taking this from the BLS. And what we know is there are so many people, hundreds of millions of people, that have completely fallen off the labor system where they're not counted anymore because they haven't gone on an interview in 4 weeks. But these individuals, they are looking for work. Now, other individuals who had to take a part-time job because they couldn't find a full-time job, they are looking for work. But it's all starting to come to a head where they need to explain why this is happening. Now, of course, they're still using the excuse that there's bad weather. They're still using the excuse that it's online sales. But we've debunked all of this. This makes no sense whatsoever in this economy. Now, we're starting to see that people, they are using their credit card more and more at this point. Now, we've seen this back in 2008 when things started to go south. All of a sudden, people went out there and they started to use their credit card because people lost their jobs and they didn't have the funds. We see right now that total revolving credit, it rose by 2.9 billion, undoing last month's of a 2.6 billion drop. So things are rapidly changing. And we're starting to see that hope, well, it's starting to disappear right now. And what we're seeing right now is that student loan debt, well, that hit $1 trillion. We know the auto loan industry, that has hit over $1 trillion. Now, non-revolving debt, for the first time since January of 2007, it hit $1 trillion. We are in big trouble here, not just with the economy, but with what's happening in the world. Remember, all of this is tied together. The petrodollar system, the oil in the Middle East, and everything here in the United States and globally, the debt, everything is intertwined. And we can see that things are rapidly breaking apart. Now, the IMF, they came out with a working paper on eliminating cash. Now, this is almost like the bail-in documents, where they set up the bail-in documents in 2012. It was between the FDIC and the Bank of England. And then all of a sudden we had that Cyprus incident, which was a test case. And then it spread throughout Europe, into Canada, into New Zealand, and many other countries. And now we have the IMF coming out, and they published a working paper on decashing. Yes, decashing. And the paper clearly demonstrates that this is the direction we are headed into. And it provides advice to governments who want to join in the latest thing, which is abolishing cash. Now, although some countries most likely will decash in a few years, going completely cashless should be phased in with certain steps. The decashing process could build on the initial and largely uncontested steps, such as phasing out large denomination bills, the placement of ceilings on cash transactions, and the reporting of cash moves across the borders. Further steps could include creating economic incentives to reduce the use of cash in transactions, simplifying the opening and use of transferable deposits, and further computerizing the financial system. So we are already on our way. Now, all of that information that we received before about India, which was a test case, about removing cash, the idea of removing the 500 euro, the idea of removing the $100 bill. Well, here we are already. There's a working paper instructing the governments on how to decash. Why? Because at this point, they want them to follow this, because we are moving into that collapse scenario. Now, like I said, everything is connected, and things can change in a snap of a finger, and we are seeing this today. 1 minute, everyone had hope. Everyone thought, okay, Trump is coming in, things are going to change, jobs are going to be coming back, there's not going to be a war, we're not even going to be getting involved in the Middle East, and here we are today. Things have rapidly changed, and it was in a split second this happened. And we know, moving forward, things are going to rapidly change, and this is why everyone today needs to get prepared for what is coming. And what I mean by getting prepared, I mean getting your food. Stock up on food. I mean, if you have to, go to Sam's Club, go to BJ's, go to Costco. Get the canned food. What do you need? Well, you need, personally, this is what I think, you need protein. You can buy beans. You need carb. You need rice. That won't go bad. The canned food stuff won't go bad. If you want to go to those specialized places where you can get the pre-made food that lasts for a very long time, you can do that too. But again, that's quite expensive. You can also try to just go to your everyday, supermarket. If you don't belong to Costco, if you don't belong to BJ's, if you don't belong to Sam's Club, peanut butter is another good food to have in the house, of course, if you're not allergic to it. And you can buy this in bulk. Why? It gives you the fat. It gives you the protein. Because when things start to fall apart, it's going to be very, very difficult to get food. And a lot of people are going to be running to the market to get food. And you don't want to get caught up in that. And also, we're going to have inflation. So when food prices start to soar, it would be very, very difficult to get food. Don't forget to get water. You need water. And you should have cash on hand, because in the beginning phases of this collapse, however it's being brought on, we're going to be using cash in the beginning. Save the gold and silver. You won't need it as of yet. You will use all the cash that you have, and this is why I said, and this is my personal opinion, to keep cash in your home. Make sure you have medical supplies, toiletries. Make sure you have a weapon, because we don't know what the scenario is going to be. We don't know what's going to happen during this period of time. People are going to have nervous breakdowns. It's a complete fact, because they're going to be sideswiped. They're not going to know what just happened. So this is why you need to be ready. This is why you need to be prepared. And these are the beginning stages of what you need to start to do. Now, for those people who have been listening to me for a very long time, you should have been doing this all along. You should have your stocks of food. You should have your water. You should have your cash on hand. You should have gold and silver. You should have some type of weapon. You should have batteries. You might even have some type of generator. Now, how long is that generator going to last? Because you're going to need fuel to power it up. If you have a solar generator, well, that's even better, but they are quite expensive. Now, you should have been doing this all along, getting prepared, because we can see right now we're heading into that time period where things are going to be rapidly changing, not in months, not in years, in weeks, maybe even in days. So you need to get prepared and ready. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.